Hello, and welcome to an episode of Drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a comedy podcast dedicated to the mysterious. My name is Cassidy.
My name's Amanda.
And we are hopping into the holidays.
I was very, very confused with what you were about to say.
I really thought that there was going to be something that was going to roll off my tongue because my mind is so brilliant. Usually, it's just like a crack whip getting in there.
I mean, honestly, you're not wrong. It is.
But not what happened.
No.
Instead, I said we're hopping into the holidays.
Yeah.
It is not Easter.
We're not hippity hopping.
I'm not hopping anywhere.
No.
I have actually been pretty planted. If I can be real.
You did tell me today that your back hurts because you've just been sitting down for too long.
Yeah, I was like, I woke up this morning like sore, like I worked out, which I did not. And then I was like, that's so weird. Why would my back hurt? I've barely left my couch in like 4 days. And then I was like, oh, that's probably why.
Yeah. You've just been sitting.
And I'm not sitting with proper posture.
Dude, I never do. Like, even when we record these, I'm like, God, why can't I just straighten up for once in my life?
Oh, yeah, me too.
I don't know how.
I'm all over the place.
I don't know how. I don't know how to sit with my shoulders back. I'm always rounded. I'm the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that one because I'm right there with you. Struggling.
Girls together, hunchbacking it out.
Sometimes things just happen. I don't know what to tell you. And that's okay.
That is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I want to be the Hunchback of Notre Dame, let me.
Let her. Women can do anything these days.
That is right.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Women empowerment.
Women empowerment. It's like gatekeep, girl boss, hunchback.
Hunchback. Yes.
Yeah.
Woohoo. New saying.
New saying. Unlocked. I would like to say thanks for everybody who messaged me or left comments also saying that you're afraid of pregnancy and pregnant people.
So many people.
I was so nervous because I even told Amanda, I was like, people get that like I was joking and like I'm happy that for pregnant people that the concept freaks me out because like you're turning goo into bones and it's freaky.
Yeah.
And it turns out a lot of people feel that way, including pregnant women.
Because Cassidy, she edits the episodes and then I listen, and if there's anything that I find wonky or weird that she maybe didn't catch or she didn't think was wonky, we talk about it and we whatever, how it works. Like
if a joke, sometimes stuff just doesn't land and it's like, oh, that just sounded mean, or whatever. Yeah.
And I listened back and I was like, I feel like it's pretty obvious that you're joking. Clearly, like you don't hate pregnant women,
no,
and are not actually disgusted by every single pregnant woman.
Anytime I critique anything a woman does, I'm always like hesitant just because there's so many just actual misogynists out there.
Yeah.
Or not critique, but like make a joke or make it the butt of a joke or whatever. I'm always just afraid. I'm like, oh, I don't want to come off like a red pill weirdo.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's obvious that you're not. And if people have listened to this podcast for even a short amount of time, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But no, so many of you guys, pregnant or not pregnant, came out and agreed wholeheartedly with Cassidy. And honestly, it kind of surprised me how many people did.
You know what? Me too, because it's always something that to me people have always told me like, no, it's the most natural thing in the world. Like, that's so weird. What's wrong with you that you feel that way? And so it was kind of validating to be like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not weird. It's actually other people do feel this way, and other people feel this way and still have kids. So it's not even just like because I don't want kids thing. It's literally just like
a million people that are currently pregnant were like, I also hate pregnant people, or I'm scared of pregnancy or whatever.
I also can't stop thinking about the goo to bones process, the goo to bones pipeline happening inside of me.
Which, it is that time of year when a lot of people are getting pregnant. So if you are, congratulations.
Is this the time that people get pregnant the most?
I would say so. Like the holidays.
I wonder when. I mean, I know everyone gets engaged in the holidays.
Engaged, pregnant. It's kind of all like
let's see.
The same thing.
Let's see. I'm going to Google it.
Google it.
Most popular month to get pregnant.
Actually, February.
Yeah, you're right. November 25th to December 2nd are the most popular times to conceive a baby.
You want to know why?
Thanksgiving.
It's cold. You want to cozy up.
You got
body heat.
It's cuffing season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that's not even a real song? It's just an SNL bit. Isn't that crazy?
Wait, what?
I mean, it's a real, obviously it's a song, but it's not like a song from somebody's album. That was just a bit for SNL.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
That's not like a Weekend song?
No. It's SZA, I think is how you pronounce SZA, that artist. And it was when she was on SNL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a big boy.
Why did I think that was The Weeknd?
I thought it was a real song too. Well, because he sounds a little like a lady. But I also thought it was like a real song. I knew it was SZA, but I also thought it was a real song. And then I saw somebody on like a TikTok or Instagram or something be like, still can't get over the fact that this is just a bit from SNL. And I said, no way. They had to have been sampling a real song. And then I looked it up and no, it's just a bit from SNL.
Wow.
Yeah.
But is it like a bit, as you know how like all the SNL digital shorts, like it's my dick in a box?
Yeah. But like you never thought like Dick in a Box was like an NSYNC song. You knew it was a joke song from SNL.
I did think that the Akon song, I Just Had Sex, I did think that was a real Akon song for a hot minute.
Well,
until I realized
I think that
was...
says more about Akon than you.
Yeah. Well, because he's on the boat.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of, right? Or is that I'm on a boat, bitch? I'm on a boat.
I think they're on a boat at some point.
I think Akon is in all of these.
I don't think Akon's in the I'm on a boat.
No?
That's the Lonely Island Boys.
Yeah. So is I Just Had Sex.
I know, but I'm saying like I don't think Akon isn't a Lonely Island boy. He just was in one.
He might as well be.
Okay.
Akon and Lonely Island. Remember?
Why did you had sex. Why did you? Sorry, the wait. Whatever melody you were trying to.
That was it. I swear.
It sounded like you were singing like a children's lullaby.
No, I swear to God, that's the melody. Akon and Lonely Island.
Yeah, you literally
I just had sex.
Akon and Lonely Island, and you put your head on your pillow and you go to sleep, and then the bad man under the bed doesn't get you. I'm gonna sing that to your kid when.
Please do.
When they're being bad.
But you have to say Akon first.
Of course. That's the first. That's literally the first word of the song. Why would I not say that?
Okay, good. Do you remember what you just sang?
Akon in Lonely Island, and you put your head on the pillow and you go to sleep so the bad man under your bed doesn't get you. Yeah, girl, I got that locked in.
You just reminded me, speaking of SNL, do you remember the Kat and Garth skits with Kristen Wiig and what's that fucking guy's name from Portlandia?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And they had this skit where they were like musicians. They were like a duo, and they would go on the little table talk.
Wow, this is going really well.
So you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The Saturday Night Live.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
I do. Kat and Garth. And they had wigs and they had festive vests on. And then they would be like, yes, Kat and Garth, sing us a song from your album. But they were making it up. So they had to like look at each other and
and they would try to say the words at the same time. Yes,
that is what your song reminded me of.
Oh, okay.
One of their tunes.
Got it. Okay. I mean, I was making it up, so.
I know. And I should have joined in and hopped on board. And
you
followed along with you.
The moment was ruined.
I know. Fuck. See, this is why I'll never be on SNL.
She can't do it. She'd fold under the pressure.
I'll never be on SNL. Damn it. My dream.
You're no Trisha Paytas.
Yeah. Fuck you.
She was on SNL.
You know, you tell me a lot that I'll never be these amazing people. And Trisha Paytas is one of them that I aspire to be. Trisha Paytas was like, I have a dream to be on Broadway, but she's not good. She's not a good singer. But you know what she did? She created her own show where she sings.
And now she's touring.
Now she's touring.
Right? Yeah.
You know what?
So
goals. Good for you, Trisha Paytas. I'm proud of you. Happy for you.
The woman who's lived a million lives.
Really, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was not aware of her when she was at her most problematic.
Didn't she get canceled?
She's been canceled like 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's back. And she's a Broadway baby.
Now she's back.
Wow. Love it. I love this arc.
Oh, speaking of getting canceled, Brown Chicken Fries getting canceled again.
Again?
Yep. Everyone hates her.
How many times has she gotten canceled in the last 2 months?
Everybody hated her. And then everybody loved her when she came out because she alleged that her ex-boyfriend was emotionally abusive to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody was on her side, right? Because everybody loves a comeback.
But they forgot about what she said about the Menendez brothers.
But then, well, did you not hear that? She said that the reason I said that is because I couldn't leave my abusive situation. And so it was like, whatever. I don't know. Maybe that is why. I don't know. But she also like talked a bunch of shit about Taylor Swift and then also took all of that back and then went to the final night of the Eras tour. I almost said Aras like you. Like, that's how you would say it.
Is that how I say
Yeah.
Eras?
Yeah.
Aras?
Yeah.
I'm insulted, but it's fine.
You got an accent. And so, and then everyone, like a bunch of Swifties were pissed off because they were like, oh, now you're, because it's like cool because you're single or whatever.
Don't you know to not piss off the Swifties?
I'm so afraid of the Swifties.
Haven't we learned?
I have said
Speaking of, it is Taylor Swift's birthday right now.
Oh gosh. Oh my
Happy
gosh.
birthday.
She knows.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Say it quick.
So sorry.
We love you. Happy birthday. Okay.
No, I have said like the most mild jokes ever about Taylor Swift and people have come for me.
100%.
Yeah. But yeah, she like came out and was like, Taylor Swift sucks. Her music sounds like music for babies, like whatever. And then all of a sudden she's like, just kidding. I love Taylor Swift and I'm going to go to the final night of the Eras tour.
The Eras.
And then, yeah, whatever. And so, but she kind of left her BFF, Grace in the dust. And then, because I guess Grace obviously didn't like this guy who was treating her friend like an asshole. So it like put a strain on their friendship. And then Brianna Chicken Fry, people were kind of like, well, it kind of sucks. You kind of fucked over Grace. Like you didn't even tell her anything that was going on with the podcast. And like that was her main job at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of like were flippant about it. And then, so she went on a podcast with Dave Portnoy and some other guy, Brianna Chicken Fry did, and like was like, I'm going to do a tell all about me and Grace not being friends anymore. And
was it her podcast, the BFFs podcast?
Oh, is that her show?
It's Dave, some other guy, and her, and they have a podcast together.
Okay. So I don't know any. I don't follow Barstool sports stuff unless it gets put in my face like this.
Well, yeah, that's why I know it.
Yeah. And so she did a whole crying tell all of like Grace is a bad friend, like whatever, and trying to like expose Grace is what it felt like, but it did not.
It backfired.
It backfired hard to the point where like literally all the like probably 90% of the comments are pro Grace, and Grace is also starting her first ever stand-up comedy tour right now that's going nationwide.
Wow.
And so they released that, so it's just like the timing and all of that stuff. And then it's so bad that like Dave Portnoy had to comment on the YouTube and be like, this is Dave here, like this, all of this dogpiling on Brie is so ridiculous and all this stuff. And I was like, this is crazy. I don't even know why any of these people are famous or like
I don't either.
who they are, but like I only ever see them when everyone's mad at them.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%.
Like if everyone's mad at them, I'm like, now I know who they are.
Yeah, I didn't know who Brianna Chicken Fry really was until all this stuff started happening.
Yeah, me either. Like, if you said that name, I'd be like, yes, I know that's like a person, but I don't know like what they do, who they are, who they work for, why they're famous. Like, I don't know why I know that name. I've just heard it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like big drama online right now.
Well,
I do find we've talked about on this podcast before. I've seen clips of Grace and I find her very funny.
No, she is funny.
Yeah, she's like got the sauce.
And I just think
charming.
It's really fucking distasteful and rude when like you had a podcast together. You were friends for I don't know how many years, but I'm sure a while.
Since they were 11 years old.
So that is like your best friend. You were friends before you guys got famous.
Yes.
And you're going to do that like publicly?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well,
if you have a thing, like keep it private. Why are you doing that?
Well, so that's the problem is because they had the podcast, Brie like said, hey, I'm going to restart the podcast with somebody else, basically.
Oh, yeah, that's going to work.
And then Grace was like, I didn't know that she was planning on doing that. I found out via Instagram. And so she put that on her Instagram being like, I did not know about this. I knew that the podcast was probably over or whatever. Like they had discussed that. But she did not know that she was going to try and start it with someone else or do something like that. And so Grace just posted on her Instagram story being like, I did not know about this. I'm finding out the same way you guys all are.
Oh my gosh.
But that's so crazy to me because I don't know, like we've been friends for a really long time.
Yes.
I would say probably because they're young. They're like probably both like 25 or whatever. And so
Are
if they've
they
known
that
each other
young?
since they were 11, that they've known each other probably about the same amount of time we have, right?
Yeah.
We just met when we were a little older. But I just can't, like we have gone through some shit.
Yeah.
Some like, oh my God, like shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where how are we going to make this work out? How like you hate this person, I hate this person. Like we've gone through that like a million times. And I just can't imagine, especially now because we have the podcast is our baby. You know what I mean? Like we have this together. I just can't imagine being like, oh, like literally anything.
Well, luckily, whenever like we have fought in the last couple of years after starting the podcast, we can't, or I can't, because I'm more of the stubborn one than you are, but we can't do that thing where we don't talk for however long. Like we have to get over it.
Yeah, we have to see each other
5 days.
T minus however many days.
Like, okay, we got to like we can ignore each other for like a day, but then we have to fucking talk.
Oh yeah, I remember once we were in a fight about something stupid, and I texted her. I was like, "Hey, I'm coming over to your house because we need to record," and she was like, "Oh, I wasn't sure if we were going to record or not," and I was like, "It's literally our job, so yes, we're going to do it, and we're just going to talk first, and it's going to be fine." And then it was, but talked for like 30 minutes, and then it was totally fine.
I cannot imagine like. Holy shit. I mean, that's unforgivable to me. Like if we were like, okay, like we're probably ending our friendship and we're ending the podcast, and then you just started it with someone else.
Yeah. If I was like, oh, hey guys, like I'm looking for a new co-host, and you found out via Instagram.
Oh my God.
Like, it's one thing, I guess, if you break up and have that discussion, and like if you let's say you're the one who's upset and you want to leave the show or whatever, if I'm like, I'm going to continue it because you're choosing to leave, right, that's one thing. But it was like, that's not what it seemed like happened. Very
I would take a knife and slowly slit your throat and watch the blood pour all over my white carpet.
I think that's
right here.
Fair. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a lot of drama.
I love other people's drama.
Me too. And that's what's so funny. I'm like, I don't care about any of these people, right?
Yeah.
I don't watch any of their content. They're not like people that I'm interested in. But I do love drama.
I love drama, and
I love to hear it all. I want to hear it all.
And I love drama specifically too about like influencers, because they're not really doing talented things to be famous. Like they're just there.
Once again, I don't know what these people do. I guess Grace is a very talented comedian.
Well, good for her. I hope your stand-up tour sells out.
Well, and I'm sure the chicken lady, got, like she has all these shows and all works for Barstool. She must do something.
I think she just has like she's just a entertainer like that.
Well, but is she just a podcaster? Because then at that point she's just like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except she works for Dave Portnoy, who's like a bajillionaire, so she probably makes a lot of money. Not to detract or take away from any other podcasters that do things, but like we are researching stories and that stuff, and they're just chit chatting.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is I don't know what she did to get hired at Barstool or to get.
Girl, I don't know
like,
either.
Did she have a podcast before? I don't know, because I don't know any of these things.
I don't know anything about her.
But that's why I'm saying I won't speak on whether or not she has talent or whatever.
That's fair.
I don't know what she does.
That's fair. That's fair. What is that trend on TikTok right now where it's like don't judge, just listen.
We listen, we don't judge.
We listen, we don't
can't
judge.
Stand that.
Okay.
That so many people should get divorced. It's crazy.
Right. So what I was gonna say about that is I do judge.
She doesn't listen, and she will. And
I will judge. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm sorry about that if that offends anybody, but that's what I'm doing.
But this is her mic right now.
This is my mic. Literally, my name's on it. Just kidding, it's not, but it might as well be.
Oh my gosh, you want to know something I learned this week that's crazy and haunting me? I can't stop thinking about it.
I do.
Space has a smell.
Just shut up. Why do you say these things?
You just said yes, I do. And I even told you it was haunting.
I know, but then like I still didn't think that was going to come out of your mouth, you know?
Like, space has a smell, and there's a perfume called Ode to Space, because they try to like get astronauts used to it before they get up there, so it doesn't like make them crazy.
What? Now I need to know what the smell is.
So people have described it as a bunch of different things. Like one person described it as it smelled like a burning steak. And then somebody else described it as like what the inside of a VCR smells like, which like that I can get. Like I've smelled the inside of a VCR obviously before.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, like when you have to like blow in there or whatever, you didn't have VCR when you were a kid.
No, I did. I know what you're talking about.
You know that like smell? I'm like, okay, so that's what space smells like. But I was watching this lady who is like a perfume reviewer, and she was like, this is my most rare perfume or whatever. It's Ode to Space. It's the one they use for NASA. Like a NASA scientist developed it.
Wow.
And she said that smelling it like fills her with existential dread. Like she said, I don't know how to describe the actual smell. Like there's no like notes that I can like pick up on, right? Because she reviews perfume. So normally she's like, at the front end, it's citrusy. And then at the back end, there's cardamom or whatever, right? But she said that it just smelling it, like she can only smell it once like a year. And it makes her feel terrified, like she's lost in space.
Can we
I want to smell it so bad.
How do we get this?
I want to smell it so bad.
Does anybody work for space?
Does anybody work for space? If you know space, call me.
I know someone works for space here.
Someone's got to work for space out there. We got some smarties.
Come on.
Yeah.
Can you send us this smell?
We just need a little guy. I'm not gonna like wear it around town.
No. Like the tiniest little drop. Just a little drop of it.
But I do just feel like, that probably
maybe like an essential oil, like a space
essential oil. You're going to rollerball. Whenever you need to make people feel existential dread at your presence.
Ooh.
Just throw a little space on.
If I was a ghost, that I would want that to be obviously my smell. Like I would want people to immediately know that they're smelling existential crisis and it's me.
But yeah, she said like she doesn't know how to describe the smell. There's no notes to it that she can like describe, but that it smells like fear. It makes like the hair on the back of her neck stand up.
It
just makes me think of Event Horizon. I don't know why.
Yes.
Like the way she was describing it, I was like, oh, it's Event Horizon.
I like how you're talking about that as I'm smelling my pine candle. So like the pine candle smells really good.
The pine candle does smell really good.
And I like that. But now I'm thinking like, what the fuck is space smelling like?
Yeah, I feel like I want to try it so bad, but I'm also very afraid.
No, I need to know.
You need to know.
I need to know. This is like the fucking jelly beans, which I need to buy this game for us so we can play it on a video or something because it is so crazy. There's these fucking jelly beans, guys. Who works for Jelly Bean?
Who works for Big Bean?
I need to know because how the hell, like I thought there's no way I'm going to bite into this jelly bean and it's going to taste like burnt rubber. I was like, there's no way.
Have you never had the birdies, beetles, whatever?
Like the Harry Potter
ones? Because those taste like that shit too.
See, I feel like the Harry Potter ones didn't quite taste like exactly like the thing that it was describing.
I feel like they did. Like I had one of those vomit ones once and it tasted like vomit.
Yeah, though there's a vomit one in this one too. But
I want you to know I do not want to play this game. I will play it if you force me to.
Oh, I'm absolutely going to force you.
I don't enjoy to eat gross things.
Great. Can't wait.
I'm surprised you want to do it.
Just because I think it'd be funny.
Like you won't even eat fish.
Right.
And you want to eat shit flavored jelly beans? Though your mind.
The burnt rubber one was so... I've never eaten burnt rubber before, but that's what I would imagine it tasted like.
Yeah, you smelt it.
And it hurt my throat.
Yeah.
Like how do you get that? And how do you get that in a jelly bean? Somebody explain to me.
Big Bean.
Big Bean. Okay, so if you work for space or you work for the bean, anybody. Maybe you do both. Let us know.
Maybe you're a jack of all trades.
Please.
Jack of two trades: bean making and space.
Maybe you're making beans in space.
Well, all I could think about when I was watching this video of her talking about what the space smelled like is those astronauts who are trapped up there.
And they're just smelling space.
They're just smelling
all
space.
The time.
Just dreadful, dreadful, dreadful space.
I think I might have an existential crisis right now.
I saw it. I saw there was a distant look in your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do?
What can you do?
Smell space, apparently.
I don't want to.
It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, of course. Like, logically, you're like, yeah, of course. Like, everything has to have a smell. I don't know why I thought, like, in my brain, if you had to, like, ask me what I think space smells like, I go, like, hospital room. Something, like, real clean.
Yeah, clean.
And cold.
Almost, okay, when we walked outside today, you know how, like, the air kind of felt crisp?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would imagine. Like, just like a plain, crispy, fresh smell.
Yeah.
That's what I would think space smells like.
See, I wouldn't think fresh. I would think like antiseptic. I don't know why.
Or if not fresh, maybe like, you know that smell of dew?
Like wet? Like when there's like, it just rained?
Yeah.
What's that called? There's a name for that.
That's what...
Petrichor or something?
I think that's what space smells like.
That is not what it smells like.
Well, you don't know. You've never smelt it.
I'm pretty confident it doesn't smell good because that smell smells good.
Like wet.
Like wet concrete?
Like I don't even know how to describe it. Like wet, just wet stuff.
Yeah, like when you go outside after it rained.
Yeah,
like
I don't
it's
like
a
that
dewy
smell.
morning. It smells so good.
Oh, I don't like it.
Oh, it smells so good.
It smells like mildewy almost.
No, mildew smells like rotten.
Maybe I don't know how to smell.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe just things smell different to me.
That's like one of like the all-time favorite scents that people have, like after it rains.
Really?
Yeah. Like, come on, guys, back me up here.
Oh, they will.
Drop it in the comments.
They will back you up. Absolutely. And then I'm going to be the fucking wrong one.
Well, I just think it's not even wrong. It's just because it's your opinion. I'm just saying I don't think it's a very I just don't think it's a very popular one. I think most people like the smell of rain.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. They like make candles of it and stuff.
That is true.
Like specifically.
I love candles.
I love candles. I'm so sorry to anybody I ever like went, oh, when you got me a candle as a gift ever, but like before the age of like 27. I'm so sorry. I just didn't know how much I loved candles yet.
Yeah, that's honestly probably my favorite gift.
Yeah, because you know, like when you're younger, you're like 22. You're like, oh, thanks for the candle.
Mm-hmm.
Like now as an adult, now at 31, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you for the candle. Like deeply, deeply.
Yeah.
My dad always gets me like a pack of candles every year for Christmas. He usually just sends like a funny one.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually like funny, goofy, whatever. And then I burn them like all year because he buys like nice candles. And I'm like, this is the greatest.
I love. Someone send me a candle.
Oh my gosh, I get to see my dad tomorrow. I just realized that.
Jay.
I totally forgot. Because remember you were like, oh, should we record on Saturday? And I was like, I can't.
Because
I'm
Jay.
gonna see my dad.
That's
Yeah.
true. Tell him I said hi.
I will.
Give him a big huggaroo for me.
I think we're going to go to your favorite place, the Belmont Brewing Company.
I do love that place.
Yeah, it's good.
Really good.
It's good. Well, speaking of other cool people, let's take a second to say thank you and welcome some of our new cool kids.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
I love cool people.
Welcome to our new cool kid, Jonathan.
Hello, Jonathan.
Welcome to Jordan A.
Hello, Jordan.
And welcome to Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Thank you guys so much for joining our Patreon. We literally could not make this podcast without you. And we hope you know that we very deeply, deeply, deeply respect and appreciate you all.
We do.
And if you would like to join our Patreon, you can do that at dtkpod.com/support or at patreon.com/drinkingthekool-aid. And don't forget, you can gift it to people.
You can.
So if you want to ask for it as a gift or gift it to one of your besties, you can do that now. And if you buy for the whole year, you get 2 months free.
That's right.
It's a great deal.
And we are your gifts.
We are your gifts.
Wrapped
and you are
up
our
in a
gifts.
bow. Yes. And speaking of you being our gifts, I just want to say really, really quick that we, over the last couple of days and weeks, we've just been getting a lot of DMs from you guys about like how it's the holidays and it could be a tough time. And I'm not going to go into details about specific DMs that we've received, but I just want to let you guys know that we love you and we are here for you. And if we can just do our part of putting a smile on your face during the holidays, if you are going through a tough time, that I just hope that we can do that. And I love you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we want you to have a holly jolly holiday.
Exactly.
And we want you to hop into it.
Right?
Yep.
We want you to hippity hop
hop right on in.
hippity there.
Yep.
Yep.
I feel it already.
So yeah, so we're here for you, just so you guys know.
Yes. What she said.
Yeah.
We also want to say thank you to Sam.
Hi, Sam.
And Sam bought us some beers.
Ooh.
And said, hey, ladies, I wanted to buy you some beers to celebrate my divorce being finalized this past Friday.
Snaps.
I'm so glad I'm free and on my own I'm free and I'm my own woman, and I wasted no time and got myself a car I actually wanted on Monday. Sending good luck to Amanda in that arena. She did get a car and it's cool.
I did.
Y'all always say couples that listen together stay together, and I'm so glad that now I have a wonderful partner that listens to me and treats me so well.
Aw.
He listens to the podcast with me and is a total wife guy. A phrase I taught him after hearing you ladies say how much everybody loves a wife guy. And that's true. Everybody does love a wife guy.
It's so true, yeah.
Only people who don't love wife guys are are wife haters.
Right.
And those guys suck.
Exactly.
Like the ball and chain guys.
Right.
Fuck those guys. So he has proudly taken it as a badge of honor. Shout out to Kyle. You are the best. Thank you, ladies, for being company and friends of the sort for the past year. May 2025 bring new and better for us all.
Ooh.
See, that was perfect.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers to your divorce.
What do I always say? No, there's never been two happy people that ended up divorced.
That's so true.
Congratulations, Sam.
Yeah.
And thank you for the beers. All right. Should we get started?
Let's get started.
Let's do it. With the holiday season being here, there's a lot of stress involved in the kitchen.
Absolutely. Going to the grocery store is already a task. And then with the holidays and buying gifts for people, it's like, I just don't really want to do that.
Absolutely. And luckily, HelloFresh is making that so much easier for us.
As someone who's also just really indecisive about what I want to eat pretty much every single night, but this cuts all that work down for me, and I get ingredients. I get a recipe that I would probably never make on my own, and they're delicious.
Yeah, you don't even have to think about it, and you have these high quality, sustainably sourced ingredients, produce that came from a real farm, and you get to enjoy it without ever having to really think.
I love to not think.
And HelloFresh does it deliciously.
It does. The other night, I actually made myself the lemon butter chicken.
Oh,
it was so good. I was up in the kitchen. I was making sauces. I don't cook like that.
One of the most fun parts about using a HelloFresh box is it makes you feel like you are much better at cooking than you are.
It does. It really tricks you.
Ain't that a good feeling?
It really is.
Well, thankfully, you can get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free Kool-Aid. You can apply it across 7 boxes. This is for new subscribers only and varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free Kool-Aid. And this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about Brandon Mayfield and the 2004 Madrid bombings.
Oh, that sounds pleasant.
It's not pleasant.
Okay.
So on Thursday, the 11th of March in 2004, there were 10 explosions that occurred upon 4 different commuter trains across Madrid, Spain. There were actually 13 total bombs planted, but only 10 of them went off, and then the other 3 were like found by police as the day went on. This is clearly a very highly coordinated attack. It happened in the morning, like right at rush hour, so the trains were super packed. And as the day was going on, the number of dead was like slowly rising. So the original reports were like, oh, there's maybe like a dozen people dead and like hundreds injured. And then it went on to okay, it's actually 30 people. Like, you know how that happens.
Yeah.
Like, as they're discovering and going through, the number is just like rising and rising and rising. And the explosions were extremely devastating, and identifying victims of explosions is extremely hard also. So as of today, the total number of victims is 200 people that died.
Wow.
And that actually includes someone who died 10 years later who was in a coma from the explosions and then finally passed 10 years later.
10 years in a coma.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
149 of the victims were Spanish because it was Spain, and 51 died from 16 other countries. So this was like truly like an international incident.
Wow.
And this is only a few years after 9/11. There were terrorist attacks happening in London in their subways. So, you know, kind of not a good vibe happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people were scared and they wanted answers. And 3 days after the attack, Al-Qaeda, however you pronounce it, claims responsibilities for the bombings.
Okay.
Yeah. People were skeptical of this because sometimes they would just like do that. Be like, oh yeah, that was us. Good job, our team. We did it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a really fucking dumb question.
Please do.
Because I've heard of Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
Like I know essentially what it is, but what exactly is it?
They are described as a terrorist group.
Yeah.
Who went to like take out the West.
Okay.
Right.
And where are they?
Islamic
where are they
Islamic extremists.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
I feel like that is the way you'll often hear groups like that. So like the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, they are described as Islamic extremists.
Okay.
Yeah. Organizations like that tend to take credit for things they didn't do, just to strike fear and have their name seem like, oh yeah, we're this big bad group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But some people thought that that could be legit. It could have been them because, like, obviously at this time they were very actively violent and doing violent things.
Okay.
Right. The investigation continued, of course, and eventually fingerprints were found on a bag that contained one of the detonating devices that was like recovered.
Okay.
Because it didn't go off. So they actually did recover a full and partial print on this bag, which, like, huge breakthrough, right? Slam dunk if they can get it to match somebody's prints. So they run it through the local database, don't get anything. They run the prints through the Interpol database, nothing. They send the prints over to the FBI to run it through our database, and there's a match.
For an American?
Yes. Well, actually, at first, there were about 20 potential matches. So when they run from what I gathered, when they run the fingerprint through, like, the computer, there's like 8 points that have to match. And if you get 8 points, like, that's already pretty hard to do. So it'll give you all of those matches. And then, like, a fingerprint expert has to come in and look at them in, like, with your human eye, and determine if it's actually a match or not.
Okay.
So when they ran it through the FBI database, there were about 20 potential matches. They bring in a bunch of experts, fingerprint experts, and they end up comparing them to the 20 sample prints that were identified as having enough of a match. And while they have these experts looking at the prints and, like, comparing them and, like, deciding which ones are actually, like, a real match or not, they end up just looking into all the people who have a match or, like, were brought up, right?
Okay.
And there's one guy who stands out to the FBI. His name is Brandon Mayfield. He is an attorney in Oregon in the United States. He's married with 4 kids. And the FBI has his prints because he served in the military from 1985 to 1995. The reason he sticks out to the FBI in particular is sometime in the mid-1980s, he converted to Islam. And in 2003, he acted as a lawyer for one of the Portland 7.
Which are...
I was just... my next sentence is literally, I know what you're thinking. Who are the Portland 7?
That is exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, they were a group of Muslim U.S. citizens who, after a tip from a neighbor, were arrested and convicted of terrorism. Well, like, all of them kind of got different charges for trying to get to Afghanistan to volunteer for Al-Qaeda or the Taliban.
Okay.
This was, like, a pretty controversial case also because I think there was some, like, tensions were high, and let's just say, like, Muslim Americans were not being treated very well after 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So these connections obviously sparked some red flags for the investigators who did believe that this attack most likely would be connected to Al-Qaeda because they are the ones who claimed the attack. And so now there's, like, kind of this tenuous, strand between these stories. So a little bit more about Brandon. Brandon Mayfield was born in Coos Bay, Oregon. Coos Bay. I've never heard of that before, but
I actually have seen that name before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder why. Well, there's so many true crime stories.
I was going to say probably in a story.
Northwest, yeah. And then he grew up in Halstead, Kansas. He did serve in the United States Army Reserve from 1985 to 1989, and then as an officer in the Army in Germany from 92 to 94.
Okay.
He met his wife, Mona, who was an Egyptian woman. She was from Egypt. And she was the daughter of a college professor that he knew. And they got set up on a blind date in Olympia, Washington in 1986. So, like, right while he was working in the Army Reserve, right?
Okay.
And so that is why he converted to Islam, was she was Muslim.
Got it.
And so when they started, hitting it off or whatever, either he did it for her or maybe he found, sometimes you just haven't experienced a religion and it speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
So he ends up converting. They end up getting married. They have 4 kids.
Okay.
The imam of the mosque described Mayfield as, quote, very patriotic, and that he was a practicing Muslim. He did go to the mosque, multiple times a week, but that he wasn't one of those people who touted it all over town. So like when they were interviewed, a few of his coworkers and colleagues said that they were unaware that he had any religious affiliations.
Okay.
So it's not like he was like out here in people's face, like trying to get people to convert or anything. He was just doing his thing, minding his business, and loving his wife.
The best kind of person.
Yes.
That doesn't force their religion down your throat.
That's the best kind of religious person.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, dude, if that makes you happy,
do your thing.
But if it makes you hateful or it makes you annoying, hate that.
Right.
So the FBI is looking at these prints and ends up bringing in multiple fingerprint specialists to do the comparisons. And by March 20th, 2004, after the experts looked at everything, the FBI concludes that the prints are a 100% match to Brandon Mayfield's.
Okay.
And then on May 6th, the FBI arrests Mayfield at his office in Beaverton, which is a suburb of Portland, Oregon. Once again, he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're claiming that he put 13 bombs around Madrid. Spain.
Or that he was involved. Because
he was involved enough that his prints are on it.
Yeah, because his fingerprints were on the bag of one of the bombs that didn't detonate.
Okay.
The way they arrested him was kind of tricky. He was actually held as a material witness. So the arrest warrant was different. He wasn't being arrested for the crime. He was being arrested as like someone who would know about the crime and needs to be taken into custody for quote unquote like their own safety and also so that they can't book it. Right.
Got it.
So he wasn't actually charged with committing any sort of crime because they just didn't have enough evidence to do that. But because of this, the material witness thing, he was held with no access to his family and very, very limited access to any legal counsel, which, as we know, what's the first thing if you get arrested? Not even arrested. If the police want to talk to you, what's the first thing you say, Amanda?
Can I get a lawyer?
Can I get a lawyer? And, well, that's right after you say, can I leave? Am I under arrest? And if they say you can't leave, then you say, then I need a lawyer.
That was a trick question.
It was a trick question. I'm sorry. No, but you did good. That was good.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I've trained you well. So he's in like solitary confinement, basically. They also detained him under a fake name, not his regular name, because they said it was a matter of national security. So his family couldn't find him. They didn't even know why he'd been arrested. Like they just heard like, oh, he was at his office and then suddenly the police came and took him off. And then she's calling police stations trying to figure out where he is. And they're like, we don't know. There's no record of anybody named Brandon Mayfield getting arrested today. Like we have no idea what you're talking about. So she's freaking out, obviously, as you would. And she didn't even know why he was taken into custody until she saw it on the news.
No.
That he was being accused of being connected to these bombings in Madrid. And so apparently, and this is just good luck for her, somebody that was involved in the FBI investigation leaked it to the Associated Press. And so then they are the ones who put it out there. Like somebody has been arrested for being involved, like an American citizen who has been arrested for being involved with this terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, because they arrested him as a material witness and he had this fake name, his family couldn't get a lawyer to him, couldn't figure out even where he was being held, like what jail, what prison, like what area, just complete blackout. No idea. And once she sees this AP report, she's genuinely so confused because she's like, well, I'm with my husband every single day.
Yeah.
We have 4 kids.
Like I would know if he went to Spain.
Yes. Or was involved in something shady or whatever. And she's like, not only that, his passport is expired.
Oh.
And we haven't left the continent. Like we've only been to Mexico and Canada in the last over 10 years. Like that's as far as we've gotten away. Like, right? Like on a cruise or whatever.
I mean, not saying that people can't do things secretly behind their partner's back.
Yeah, of course.
Because obviously that happens all the time. So
yeah.
It's not impossible, I guess.
No.
But also she's with him all the time. So she would know if he was gone for days.
And he's a lawyer. Like he has a job.
Yeah.
Like a big boy job that he has to be at all the time. You know what I mean? Like you could be like, hey babe, go into work. But like you secretly dropped that shift and like nobody would ever find out. But he's a lawyer. If he's not in the office with his clients and stuff, people would notice.
But also if you can't really like go from Oregon to Spain in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Right? Like even if you had like a private jet, I feel like it would still take a long time.
Yeah. Well, and like that was one of the things that was first brought up, and the FBI was like, we believe he had to have been traveling under like a fake name. But he obviously was involved, and like they believed that he had traveled to Spain.
Interesting.
So everyone's asking if he doesn't have a passport that works, he hasn't like left his family for an extended period of time for like the last 10 years. How in the world could he have been involved in a bombing that was on the other side of the world? Literally the other side of the world.
Unless he...
Well, it's because he wasn't.
Oh, okay. I was going to say maybe he made the bombs or something.
So on May 19th, 2004, Spanish authorities released a statement identifying who the fingerprints belonged to. And it was a man from Algeria named Uhan Daoud.
So who the fuck said that Brandon was 100%?
So it turns out not only that, the Spanish authorities had sent word to the FBI, confirming in April, before Mayfield was even arrested, stating that Mayfield's prints were not a match at all, and they were not going to include him in their investigation as a person of interest. Like they have completely sealed off that there's no way Brandon Mayfield was connected to this. He just had similar enough to like pop up in the registry prints, but all of their people said that this is not a match.
Wait, then who the fuck said it was 100% a match?
Despite all of this, the FBI decided to wiretap all 20 of the close matches that they got. And Brandon Mayfield was one of those people.
Like wiretap his phone?
Yes.
Okay.
They looked into their medical records, all of their bank accounts, all of their family's records and bank accounts, and nothing popped up that was suspicious. But they still decided to go forward with this Muslim man who converted to Islam for his wife, who's from Egypt, as related to these attacks.
That was literally the only reason.
Yes.
So they lied about the 100% fingerprint.
Yes.
What? That is so scary. Yeah. That is so scary that can happen.
So when they discovered that Mayfield was a convert to Islam, married a woman from Egypt, and briefly represented one of the Portland Seven, they just decided that it was a match, and they like made that decision, and they just put out a statement saying, or like they just put together a report saying, nope, it's 100% match actually. And meanwhile, all the other investigators, like literally the people in Spain who that is where the attack happened, why would they ever, why would they not want to chase every lead they can, are the ones that said like, actually, this is not a match. And they let the FBI know, like they like sent them all this information and were like, we do not think that this guy's a match. And that was in April, and they decided to continue to surveil him and then arrest him at the beginning of May. Yeah. Luckily, a judge saw this for all the bullshit that it was, and he was released from prison the day after the Spanish authorities released who the fingerprint actually belonged to. And then a judge dismissed the case on May 25th and was like, this is ridiculous. There's like literally there's no evidence here.
And how long was he in solitary confinement?
Like almost 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let's see. He got out on the 21st and he was arrested on the 6th. Yeah. So like 2 weeks.
And all he is a family man.
Yep.
From Portland.
Yep.
Who's a lawyer.
Yep.
That's it.
Who just happened to convert to Islam. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So the FBI, of course, releases a statement, and they basically say like, well, yeah, we might have narrowed in on this guy in particular, maybe a little bit because of his religion, but there were other factors, and we actually didn't misuse the Patriot Act by tapping dozens and dozens of people's phones and going through their sensitive materials like their medical records and their bank records. Oh, and I almost forgot. Not only that, the agents had been in his home multiple times without anybody's knowledge to obtain DNA from everyone in his family's toothbrushes.
But also they didn't find anything.
No.
So they're, oh my gosh.
But now they have access to this man's DNA. So if they did want to set him up for something, they have his DNA that they obtained without a warrant using the Patriot Act.
This is one of my, I think I've actually said this before on the podcast, but this is like one of those like irrational fears that I have.
It's not irrational, baby girl.
Yeah, well, that's true. But like that I will be set up for like a crime I didn't commit and then I can't get out of it.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand.
Like, can you imagine?
So on October 4th, 2004, Mayfield files a lawsuit against the federal government for his rights being violated by this investigation and subsequent arrest.
As he should.
He also wanted the copies of his family's DNA destroyed. And the FBI was like, no, and fought him about it in court.
And of course, it's the FBI, so they're going to win.
Well, so 2 years later, on November 29th, 2006, the U.S. government settled part of the lawsuit with Mayfield for a reported $2 million. So he did get paid a little, not nearly enough.
No.
And
I mean, 2 weeks in solitary confinement, that's going to fuck you up.
Being like disappeared and you didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, how am I going to get out of this? Because obviously like they think I did something. How am I going to prove I didn't do it?
Traumatized you, traumatized your family, traumatized your kids.
Yeah.
And a year after that, in September of 2007, 2 provisions of the Patriot Act were declared unconstitutional by the United States District Court for the District of Oregon. So the Patriot Act is what the FBI used to not have to get warrants to access this man's medical records, his house, because like there was just simply not enough evidence for them to have access to any of that or any of those 20 other people who got matched.
Yeah.
They had no idea they were being surveilled by the FBI, and these are law-abiding citizens. And now they're getting wiretapped. They're listening to your private phone calls. They're getting your DNA from inside your house. They're breaking into your house and sneaking things out of it. They're looking at your sensitive private medical records. They're looking at all your transactions, all your bank transactions. Like that is so violating. And the crazy part is those 20 people probably never found out that even happened.
That they were
them.
like on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like who knows what embarrassing or private things they could have been discussing, or that could like medical information that's very private and very sensitive. Like that's scary as hell. So like I said, the District of Oregon, the United States District Court for the District of Oregon said that is unconstitutional. And that Judge Aiken, he ruled that the Foreign Intelligence Service Act, or as we know it as the Patriot Act, quote, now permits the executive branch of the government to conduct surveillance and searches of American citizens without satisfying the probable cause requirements of the Fourth Amendment, which the Fourth Amendment is why they have to get like a warrant to be able to search your house or to be able to like seize your records or any of that stuff, right? Like there has to be like a reason, and there has to be enough evidence for a judge to say, look at it and say, yes, I think there's a reasonable understanding that this person might be involved in something illegal. You can go look in their house or go whatever, right? And so that literally violates the Constitution to not have those rights anymore. But of course, another court, the Ninth Circuit, I believe, overturned that ruling. And so Mayfield and his lawyers tried to bring it to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court denied to hear it. So the Ninth Circuit Court judgment is the one that was upheld. And so don't worry, you guys, they can still do all of these things under the guise of anti-terrorism to this day. They can listen to your phone calls. They can read your emails. They can go into your home without a warrant, without you even knowing, and get your DNA. And then the government just has access to all of those things.
They don't want to come into my home. I'll tell you that much. They'll be like, there's a lot of cat litter.
Lot of dog hair.
A lot of dog hair. If they tried to get my DNA, they would probably just end up with my animal's DNA somehow, some way.
Yeah, you know what? That's better that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want my. Can you imagine them putting my dog in handcuffs?
They would just shoot him.
Okay,
that's what they do.
Okay, well, I was trying to make it a little better than that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is disgusting.
Yeah, and he is not the only person that this has happened to, obviously.
Of course not.
And it's even worse if you are not an American citizen and the CIA or FBI decides that you are connected to terrorism. You get disappeared.
Yeah.
We all know about Guantanamo Bay and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just like important, especially right now, to like remember why it's important to have these rights to privacy, and we don't have them.
Yeah.
And it's scary. That's a really scary thing to think about. Because this guy had no affiliation to terrorist activity. And just because he had a very, like, a passing glance, partial, perhaps maybe match to a fingerprint that ended up being completely not true, his whole life was derailed.
Yeah, I'm just confused with how did 20 people even come up for that fingerprint?
Because the way that the database works or whatever, there's like 7 points that just have to be similar enough to make it worth like having a person look over it and look at it and be like, oh, yes, this is a match. Or like, oh, no, see, here are the differences. Because you don't want to trust a computer. Like, computers shouldn't be making that decision. You know what I mean? So that, but then they basically lied. Just so you guys know, though, most things that you read about this will end with that the FBI did investigate itself and it found that it did nothing wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
The FBI said, we're going to run an investigation on ourselves.
Yes.
And I think that this checks out. Everything we did was fine.
A-okay. We didn't do anything.
Maybe someone else should have investigated the FBI.
Yeah, you would think.
And not the FBI who did these things and literally ruined this man's life.
Yes. But Brandon Mayfield is still fighting for people's constitutional rights. Basically, he's trying to get all of this made illegal. So this cannot happen to somebody else. And he's been to court multiple times, even in like the 2000 teens, you know. So he's still fighting for this. So, and he's still a working lawyer.
I mean, as a lawyer, you would think that he would be able to maybe.
Well, I mean, think about that too. Like, he is somebody who comes from like an immense place of privilege just financially. Being disappeared, you would lose your job.
Yeah.
They would fire you and you would come and you would say, this horrible thing happened to me. And they'd be like, sorry, we already replaced you. So it's like, there's just so many other factors too that allowed him to even have the money to fight the government or do these things. And like, we talk about it all the time when we talk about true crime and people getting put in jail and not being able to pay bail. Like, they take plea deals because they can't afford to not. And so luckily, he not only knew his rights as a lawyer and all this stuff, but he also had the financial means to be able to stand up for himself, which like most people could not.
Yeah.
How many times have we told stories to people or had things happen to us and we tell someone and they're like, oh my gosh, you should have sued them. And it's like, okay, suing costs money.
Yeah, like I
and
can't
takes
do
time.
that.
Yeah, unless like a lawyer was like, hey, you have a rock solid case and I will work for free because I know you're going to get paid. But even then it's like, okay, then you have to go through the stress of trial. You have to, you know, you're going to get smeared. They're going to come after you. Like, there's so many factors to it. On top of just, oh, something wrong happened and it should be righted, right?
That is so sad and scary.
Yeah.
I just like, now I'm just thinking about if that were to happen to me.
Yeah.
Because that is something that I've had nightmares about.
Yeah. Well, and like, that's the type of thing we've talked about before on the podcast where people are like, they give false confessions and you're like, I don't understand how anyone could ever give a false confession. And it's like, okay, well, imagine you got disappeared. Your family doesn't know where you are. You don't get your phone call. And then somebody's coming in going, if you just what? Maybe you just talked to somebody and you didn't realize what was going on. If you just say that you did that, we'll let you go home and see your family. And you're like, really? And they're like, yeah, because they're lying to you. They're allowed to lie to you legally, right?
Which is also crazy.
So it's like, yeah, if you go, okay, well, yeah, maybe I guess there's this guy I know who is like kind of extreme or whatever. Like, maybe it was like a conversation I had with him and I touched something in his apartment or whatever. Like, you're making up something, anything, you're grasping at straws. And then guess what? You just admitted to it. And now they're going to use that against you in court. Because most people go, how would anybody ever false confess? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the story of Brandon Mayfield and his non-connection to the 2004 Madrid bombings.
Well, that was upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And infuriating.
Yeah. But I think it's good for people to hear these stories.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are trucking along with what I told you guys I was going to do, which was just things that involved Christmas in some way or another, because that's what I want to do. So we're just going to talk about today. I have like a little like kind of sprinkling, I guess you can call it.
Okay.
Of like a few different Christmas legends or ghosts from a couple different places.
Okay, cool.
Because I wanted to talk about hauntings. So my sources were ghostcitytours.com, eagskov.dk, thelittlehouseofhorrors.com, suffolklive.com by Daniel DeFalco, history.com by Elizabeth Yuko, and Wikipedia.
You got it.
Sorry, I got up again. Like every single time I get up to go to the bathroom when we're in between stories, and I sit down, immediately can't breathe.
Well, you also definitely are congested or something, which is probably not helping.
I am congested, but this happens every time.
It does. It does.
Like, I don't know what it is. The act of like wiping, taking my pants down and then putting them back on. I'm like, I
can't believe I do this 18 times a day.
Literally 18 times a day. All right. So before we get into kind of like the ghost stories or legends that I have, let's talk a little bit about why Christmas is just as spooky as Halloween is.
Okay, let's do it.
So in the popular Christmas song, "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year," there is a lyric that goes, "There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of glories from Christmases long, long ago." And I actually never thought about that before. That literally they talk about ghost stories and like it being scary.
Yeah.
And that's because in the Victorian era, did I say era, right? Era. The holidays, which take place typically during the winter solstice, which is the longest night of the year, it was always considered a time when the veil or the barrier between the living world and the dead was at its thinnest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is obviously something we've talked about many, many times on the podcast, with the veil being thin, and that's when the ghosts or things from the other side can make their way through. So the holidays were always a time to be closest to the spirit world.
I feel like I only kind of knew this because I read a book when I was younger that was like set in the Victorian era. Probably was written in the Victorian era, where that's how like the setting of the book is that they're like, it's Christmas Eve and they're telling scary stories to each other. And like, that's how like, it's like, well, I'll get into this true scary story. And so I feel like that's the only reason my brain was like, yeah, it makes sense to tell scary stories around Christmas.
And that's like literally what people would do in the Victorian like age, is they would sit around the fireplace on Christmas and each tell each other ghost stories.
I love that. We got to start doing that.
We got to start doing that. We got to bring that back. We got to make Christmas just as spooky.
Why not?
As Halloween.
It's all dark and cold.
It's cold. There's like that little mist over the.
There's dew.
There's dew. You know?
Amanda's biggest nightmare, dew.
Dew. The smell of dew is in the air.
Yeah. She can't hardly stand it.
I can't stand it, and it seems spooky. Okay? And then, of course, you know, Charles Dickens, he popped up on the scene. He's like, hell yeah, Christmas is fucking spooky.
Well, I was going to say, A Christmas Carol is like a very scary movie.
A Christmas Carol is actually so scary.
Yeah, when that guy in the chains comes out.
Yeah, even like
scary.
the Muppets Christmas Carol is kind of scary.
Definitely, like for like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like, obviously everybody I feel like knows A Christmas Carol, but it's got the three ghosts, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And yeah, they're scary. It's dark. It's a dark tale.
It is.
And of course, I have told on the podcast throughout the last couple of years, like the darker side of the holidays in different cultures. You talked about Krampus. Like all of that stuff is really fucking terrifying.
Yeah, totally.
So Christmas, just as scary as Halloween.
That's what she's petitioning.
That is what I just think we should bring that back. Like Jack Skellington did it best. You know what I mean?
The OG.
Yeah. He's like, I want to be spooky and I want to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that we just need to bring that back in the
we
world.
Need to respect his wishes.
Let's bring back the Victorian age. Just kidding.
Please no.
Just kidding. Let's not do that. All right. So the first like little story that I have comes from the Bramshill House in Hampshire, England. And this is actually the location where the Matilda movie musical was filmed.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that. Probably not. I don't know why I would think you
different
would see
than
that.
Matilda.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
It was like, I think
you've brought it up before. I just don't know what it is. I've never even heard of it.
It came. When did it come out? I think it came out like 2 years ago.
Oh, it's like a new thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
they like filmed the Broadway stage production into a movie. In my opinion, I didn't like it. I think Matilda like is just so good. The original movie, like I don't know why you had to do the musical movie, but that is where this is the home where they used as the school.
Got it.
That. Okay. So this mansion is known to be pretty haunted, with something like 14 ghosts that haunt the halls. But the most famous story that comes from Bramshill House is that of the Mistletoe Bride.
Ah, yes.
Mm-hmm. So sometime in the 17th century, on Christmas Day, The snow is falling from the sky. I would imagine it's dewy.
It's dewy.
It smells dewy.
It smells dewy out there.
And a group of people are at the Bramshill house celebrating the wedding of a young bride named Anna Cope. After the celebrations end, Anne, she's about to get whisked away by her new husband because he wants to get freaky deaky
of course,
in the sheets. Like, it's fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
But before he can scoop her up and take her to bed, Anne stops him and she looks at all her guests and she's like, hold on. Before we go to bed, I want to play a game of hide and seek with everyone. Wouldn't that be so fun?
Oh boy, this is going to end well. Also, this girl did not want to bone him.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, she was like, actually, wait, one more thing.
Like, it sounds like you're not really interested in...
One more thing, we need to play hide and go seek.
Hide and go seek.
I need to hide from this man that I just married.
Literally. So she asks all her guests to give her a 5-minute head start so she can go hide. And she runs off into the house. And I'm sure everyone was like, the fuck is this girl doing right now?
So she's the only one hiding?
She's the only one hiding.
Okay.
But nonetheless, the guests wait the 5 minutes just like Anne asked them to. And then they all start to go off into the mansion and search for her. So they look everywhere. They're looking upstairs in all the house, in all the closets, in all the rooms. And after several minutes, no one can find her at all. So they're like, damn, this bitch is really good at hiding.
Yeah, that's why she wanted to play. She's so good at it.
She's really fucking good at it. So they keep looking. They cover the entirety of the house, top to bottom. And after an even longer amount of time, the guests and Anne's new husband start to get a little worried.
Fair.
So they start calling out her name and they're not hearing any response. They're like, where the fuck is this girl? So after hours of them doing this, they all start to assume that Anne wasn't hiding anywhere at all, and she must have actually just fled and was a runaway bride.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like that's what she wanted to do.
And that's basically what everyone continued to think as the hours turned to days, the days turned to months, and the months turned to years. And no one had ever seen Anne again.
Okay.
50 years go by.
Oh my God.
Her husband, who she obviously fucking hated, but he loved her, so I feel really bad for him. He never stopped searching for her. He never remarried.
Damn.
He just wanted to know what happened to his bride.
Yeah.
So one night, Anne's husband, who is now an old man, he goes up to the attic of the mansion and he's just looking for something up there. He ends up knocking on an oak panel that reveals a hidden door that opens that he had never seen before. So he walks inside and he sees this beautiful carved wooden chest. He's like, what is this? I've never seen this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So he goes over to it. He lifts open the cover and he sees the skeletal remains of his bride, Anne, still in her wedding dress, still holding her mistletoe bouquet. Inside the lid of the chest were scratch marks showing that Anne
was trying to get out,
hid in the chest during the game. She must have gotten the lid stuck, couldn't get out, and she tried to claw her way out.
Oh my God. That's horrifying.
Yeah. Another very big fear.
Yeah, that's a bad way to go.
Also, really good hiding place.
Really good. Nobody even knew about this place?
Nobody knew. So naturally, it does seem as though Anne still haunts the halls at Bramshill House. She is their resident lady in white.
You got to have one or you're not a real haunting.
If you don't have one, you don't even exist, really, in my opinion. She's usually seen, obviously, on Christmas Day, and she's in the Fleur de Lis room, which is like the flower room.
Mm-hmm.
And you will know she's near when you get the overwhelming scent of lilies.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. Not dew.
Not dew.
And not space.
Definitely not space.
But lilies.
I'm so claustrophobic. That's like
same.
my nightmare.
Same.
Yeah.
Even going in an elevator sometimes I'm like,
yeah, if there's like a lot of people in the elevator, I will always wait. I'm not doing that.
I also just always like every single time I get into an elevator, I think it's going to break down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another Christmassy type legend comes from Iskov Castle, which is located on the Danish island of Fyn in Denmark.
Okay.
So this castle is probably one of the more beautiful ones that I have personally seen. It was built in 1551 by a Danish nobleman named Franz Brockenhuus, and it sits in the middle of a lake. So the only way to get in and out of this castle was with a drawbridge entrance.
Oh, cool.
I know.
That's so cool.
And still to this day, they have that drawbridge entrance, but now they've added a second entrance, like from a different side, but there's a little bridge over the water. So either way, you have to go through a bridge to get into the castle, which I just think is so pretty and so cute.
That's so cool.
The current owners of Iskov Castle, whose family has lived on the property for 240 years now.
Oh my God.
They discovered many, many, many years ago something in their attic. Again, it's always the attic.
A body?
No, not a body per se. Sort of, I guess. But tucked away in the structure beams of the attic is a wooden doll.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like the sounds of this already.
He is referred to as the Wooden Man. And legend has it that if the Wooden Man is removed from his position, which he is laying on like a special pillow in the attic, like underneath the beams, there's actually a picture if you want to Google it. So if he's removed from this spot, the castle will begin to collapse or sink into the lake. And on Christmas night, it will be fully submerged under the water.
Oh, okay. Ah, this is so pretty.
It's so pretty.
Oh, I see him.
Do you see the guy?
Ew.
Yeah, he's weird.
Seeing that would really ruin my day.
Yeah, he's big too.
He is big. I was not expecting that. The pictures will be on Instagram and on YouTube as well.
I feel like he's got to be at least like 3 feet.
Yeah. He's substantial.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So apparently, Countess Nani, who once lived in the castle, she loaned the Wooden Man to the National Museum of Denmark. And originally, they were going to put him on display for 6 months. But after just 14 days, the Countess asked the museum to give the doll back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because she claimed that once the doll was removed from his little pillow area, the castle began to creak, the walls began to shake. And as the days went on, this just got worse and worse. And then eventually the castle was like swaying a little bit.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, we're going down.
Yeah. She's like, the ship is sinking.
Yeah.
Once the Wooden Man was back up in the attic on his little pillow where he belongs, the shaking and the swaying stopped. And he has never been removed since.
You know what? Good for you. You got to know. You got to know when enough's enough.
You do.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got the Christmas part from, but that's just like the prophecy that they believe.
Christmas is so spooky.
See?
There you go.
There you go. And because of this legend, the family at the time refused to celebrate Christmas at the castle. They were like, hell no, we're not going to
risk that.
We're not messing with that shit.
Yeah.
But the current family and their owners, they decided that instead of boycotting Christmas, they were going to embrace it and embrace the legend and the prophecy. And every year on Christmas Eve, they leave a bowl of rice pudding out for the Wooden Man.
Sickening.
Imagine they come upstairs and
it's gone.
And the rice pudding is gone. It's all over his face.
Yeah, he's got like rice pudding mouth.
And they say that there's even elves in the castle, apparently, that lurk around in like the hidden rooms and in the stairwells. So they leave the porridge out so the Wooden Man can share with his little elf friends.
Yeah, so they can have a little Christmas party.
Yeah.
I love it. Adorable.
Cute. Or spooky.
Depending on who you ask. We don't know.
However you want to see it. Now let us mosey back on over across the pond.
Okay.
To a quaint little town of Beccles in Suffolk, England. We are at Roos Hall, which is a red brick Tudor-style mansion that was built in 1583. And this place is also very, very haunted. A lot of different things happen in here. But its most famous ghost is the Headless Horseman.
Oh.
Love a Headless Horseman.
This is attached to Christmas?
It is.
Okay.
He's the Christmas Headless Horseman.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So this horseman is said to ride up and down the driveway of Roos Hall every year on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
His phantom coach is heard being pulled by 4 ghostly horses that are clip-clopping on the cobblestone. And witnesses have reported seeing this headless horseman and his carriage appear on the driveway, and they'll be like standing in the doorway and they look out and they see like a carriage with a headless horseman, obviously.
That is not good.
On the horse, and he's throwing his whip out, and it's coming straight for them really, really fast, like a bullet, in like out from the darkness. And right before it gets to the door, it vanishes.
Very cool. I dig that.
Other people have claimed that happens, but once the carriage gets to the front door, it stops, and then a ghostly woman steps out of it. And if you look her in the eyes, you will go mad.
Oh, I like that.
You want to go mad?
Sure. I already did, probably.
I was going to say, we're both pretty mad.
I'm too far gone for that one.
I actually have I have a tattoo on my hip that once said, we're all mad here.
Yeah.
And now it says,
now it says, I've spread out a little bit too much.
A lot of it, yeah. I've leaked immensely all over the place. And then real quick, the most like well-known Christmas ghost that I feel like people probably have heard of before is the ghost of Anne Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn, yeah.
Anne Boleyn, yeah. She's the Queen of England, or she was the Queen of England. And she's known to pop up and haunt a lot of different places during the year. She haunts the Tower of London and all these different places. But every year on Christmas specifically, she is seen at her childhood home of Hever Castle. And she's always seen walking across the bridge onto the castle grounds, just being a little ghostly cutie who wants to go home for Christmas.
Who can blame her?
Not me.
Not me.
Yeah.
I would love to haunt my childhood castle or whatever.
I would love to just haunt a castle.
Yeah, any castle, really. Doesn't even, I can pretend like it's mine.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. That's the fun thing about being a ghost.
Home is where the haunt is. That's
Home is where the haunt is. And you can literally just do whatever you want. Like, I imagine, I mean, I don't know because I'm not a ghost, but I imagine like I could just boot myself wherever I want.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or do I have to like get on a plane?
I would say more the fear would be that you're just permanently attached somewhere. Like you try to leave, like Beetlejuice. You like try to leave and then you just like end up back in the place.
That's true. It better be somewhere.
Better be somewhere cool.
Good food.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just, I know it's a little shorty here, but that's just a little specific instances of when ghosts only come out to play during Christmas time.
I like it.
And I say, let's make Christmas scary again.
Yeah, I'll sign that petition.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm down. Well, thank you for that. I like that. That was cute.
Yeah.
And
cutie
I
gal.
also do love anytime there's a headless horseman involved. I get excited.
We don't hear enough about headless horsemen.
We truly don't.
We really don't.
Yeah, we truly don't.
And I'm just saying that if Halloween has a headless horseman, then obviously Christmas has to have a headless horseman.
Yeah, durr.
Maybe Easter has, I don't know.
Maybe
he has bunny ears on his headless neck.
Yeah, that bunny that lays eggs for Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, how about we round this out with a listener story?
Abso-frickin-lutely.
All right, so this is from an anonymous person.
Ooh, I like that.
And they said, "Hey ladies, keeping this one anonymous because it's weird as hell and I really don't tell people about it. Also, as a little preface, I was debating whether or not to send this in when y'all mentioned wanting dream episode listener stories.
Love dream stuff.
With that kind of sign from the universe, I couldn't not send it in. Also, trigger warning for dead children.
Oh.
Like you, Cassidy, I am very bad at sleeping. I've dealt with insomnia, sleep paralysis, nightmares, etc. for as long as I can remember. When I do sleep, I almost always dream. I usually am aware somewhere deep in my sleepy subconscious that I am dreaming, and if it's nightmarish enough, I can usually wake myself up. Oh, I'm the same way. I always have a few different recurring dreams. The weirdest and wildest of these are the recurring dreams about my family. Quick aside, this is not my real family. My dream family is made up of myself, my 2 twin sons, and my daughter. I do not have children or have any desire to in my real life. In fact, the idea of being responsible for the development of a tiny human makes me want to vomit."
Wait. This is cool.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the guy that was in the coma.
Yeah.
And had like a whole coma dream family.
Yes.
And went through that's weird. Okay. But I like it.
Anyway, I've dreamt about these kids since I was a teenager. They aren't always the same age in the dreams. Sometimes they're teenagers, sometimes they're toddlers, sometimes elementary school age. It's very random. but their features are always the same. And although I don't truly know what these kids, entities, or whatever are, I always just know that they're my children and that I love them very deeply. Usually my dreams are very vivid, very realistic, and not very dreamlike at all. Most of the time, they're in a setting I recognize from real life, and we're having a very average day, nondescript type of day. Examples include grocery shopping, hanging out at my parents' house, or a day at the lake, etc. It's never really anything noteworthy. But every time, the kids somehow tragically die. It's like sleeping through a really fucked up Groundhog Day loop. I've seen them drown, wander into traffic and get hit, and even once, the girl got hit in the head with a can of vegetables falling from a shelf.
Oh my gosh.
It's so strange and so random, but the way that my brain presents these scenes is so realistic that I don't usually know it's a dream until I wake up. I certainly cannot pull myself out of it like I do with my other dreams. I have no idea what these dreams mean, and I've never shared them with anyone else who had a similar experience. Maybe they're just the universe's way of confirming that I should definitely not have children, which is a fucked up thing for the universe to do, but it's also a little bit funny. Sometimes they come frequently, sometimes months will pass without a visit from the kids, but they always return eventually with a whole new storyline that always ends the same way. Anyway, I hope that wasn't too much of a bummer, and I'm really excited for the dream episode. Maybe y'all will stumble across something that sheds some light onto my experience. Until then, I'm going to keep burning sage and laying off the melatonin. Stay rad, ladies.
I find that so fascinating.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Like, I don't know. Do you dream? Do you have like the same types of dreams multiple times, or are your dreams always different?
I definitely have some dreams that are like in recurring places that are not real places.
Because I feel like if I want to get back into like a dream that I had, I can't.
I mean, I don't think I have any control over it, but
yeah,
like there's a dream that I used to have a lot more often. I haven't had it in a while. Now I'm probably going to have it, where there's this house in the middle of like the woods kind of, but there's like a pasture right by it. And every single time I have this dream, I know that somebody I love is trapped in the house, and the house is like booby trapped.
Ooh.
And like every room is like a different like saw trap basically kind of thing.
I was going to say saw.
And I have that dream. I used to have it a lot. Now I have it less, but it usually like ends with I'll make my way to the basement, and I'm like in these like tunnels in the basement trying to find whoever it is. And like sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's my boyfriend, and sometimes it's my mom or my dad or whatever, right? Just like depends. But I have that one. I used to have it a lot. Now I maybe have it like once a year. But it's always the same place.
Yeah,
it's not a place that I've ever been to. It's not a real place that I know of.
See, it makes me think like maybe like people are thinking of like past life type of stuff.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or at least with her, or who is it?
Them. They're anonymous.
Oh, at least with them, the kids, like, and they grow up.
Yeah.
You know, they're like different ages. Like it makes me think like, was that a past life family of some
but
kind?
If they're different ages and they have this dream where they die at the end of every dream.
That's true, yeah. I don't know. That's crazy.
It is crazy. That was a cool one. Thanks for sending that in. If you have a story you would like to send to us, you can do that at dtkpod.com/contact. And you can also find all of our social media, our YouTube, buy us a beer, our Patreon, all of that fun stuff on dtkpod.com.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you guys are having a wonderful holiday season. But most importantly, make sure you keep that front door locked.
Make sure you keep your mind open.
And keep drinking the Kool-Aid.